Guys. Okay, thanks for joining me today. This is Marilyn Morningstar. I'm reading a chapter from my book, The Last Snapshot. Today I'm reading chapter number 5. It's called, the title of it is called, Would He Blow Her Head Off? During the matzo ball that evening, Chopin's Polonaise was interrupted for an emergency announcement. In addition to the Germans, Soviet tanks and soldiers were approaching Warsaw. At dawn this morning, millions of Slavs began marching over our border. The Russians are coming. Troop deployment. Uncle Moshe motioned to the maid to turn the radio off. He adjusted his skull cap with the same sweep of his blue-veined hand. Following his lead, they each set their silverware back on their plates. Rena felt a pulse pounding in her wrists, emotion wedged in her throat. With a deep intake of air, her uncle recommended that everyone take a whiff of the sweet fragrance of fresh-cut flowers in the center of the table. This news can wait. Tonight, for this moment, we are going to be happy. Happy without Papa, Rena thought. The main dish, steaming cabbage, surrounded by fresh carrots and noodles, smelled heavenly, but Rena's stomachache spoiled her appetite. She thought, how can anyone eat with such terror running through our veins? After the maid placed the platter in the center of the long table, Uncle Moshe thanked her. Twiddling with her spoon, Rena dropped it, and although she scrambled to prevent it, the silver hit the rose-bordered plate with a shrill crash, chipping the edge. "Oh, I'm sorry. My stupid clumsiness." Her uncle didn't flinch at the disturbance, his mind apparently engaged with the wisdom of the aged. History should serve a purpose. Sadly, it appears that the only power behind the tales of history is to make books heavier for the future generation of schoolchildren. For the first time since she'd moved to the farm, her uncle ignored Yankel's persistent request for scraps. Rena snapped her fingers and Yankel came running, his wet nose poised like a ceramic figurine. She passed him a chunk of pumpkin bread, one of Aunt Mitha's favorite specialties. "Such delicious-looking noodles! You've outdone yourself, Mitha," her mother shouted suddenly with a smile impeded by shaky lips. Rena felt a bolt of agony batter her heart. Brave, her mother wasn't. She hadn't acted right all day. If Russia and Germany get into the battle in Warsaw, this could be the final great war, the end of the world. As Aunt Mitha dished up the noodles with a wide beam stuck on her face, Rena's mother stroked her hair with the back of her fork and babbled. That they think about the signs, that the prophecy of the great day of the Lord, wars, plagues. Now, let's not ruin our lovely meal. Uncle Moshe pleaded with a little wink. Jonathan requested more borscht before he said, "I don't think it's the end of the world, but it may be the end of Poland if someone doesn't do something quick." Just then, little Judith awoke from the sofa and ran to Jonathan, who hoisted her up on his lap. "Come to Big Brother." Still yawning, Judith's tiny alabaster-colored arms stretched out over her cricks, and Rena marveled at how beautiful she was. A delicate little angel, blue-green eyes, and curly golden locks of hair. Rena's mother shocked everyone when she twisted in her chair and grabbed Rena by the wrist, her expression desperate. We all worry about sanity, don't we? Okay, how would we know? You tell me, wouldn't you? With everyone's eyes on her, Rena slowly stood up behind her mother and massaged her neck. What in the world are England and America thinking? I thought they were supposed to protect Poland. Papa, is in danger. We're all in awful circumstance now because no one is helping us. Jonathan had an opinion. His wide, candid eyes emphasized every syllable. I've considered this a lot, Rena. Why would America send their sons to die for what is Europe's problem? As for us, why should any country care about one religious group or another? I think they decided it is up to each family to worry about their own. He set little Judith down and wiped perspiration from his forehead with a white linen napkin. And now, even after all Papa's efforts and expense to protect us, no one can get out of Poland now. One evening, a few days later, Rena requested permission to take a fresh loaf of bread down the road to her Polish friend from school. Jana's kitchen had blown out during the bombing raids, so she knew they wouldn't bake anything. They couldn't bake anything. Aunt Mitha had baked 6 loaves, 4 to share with neighbors whose homes had been damaged or demolished. Aunt Mitha was a saint. With all the cleaning and commotion going on at Jana's house, Rena forgot the time and found herself on the road back home in the black of night. As she stumbled through the rubble, the acrid bite of smoldering debris enveloped her. To calm her fears, she occupied her mind with a review of the poem she'd started the night before. Writing verse helped release the pain in her frail heart, helped her make sense of her tale of 2 cities, of Berlin and Warsaw, 2 worlds filled with bittersweet shadows. She planned to finish it tonight. If only she'd run away a month earlier. More dust collected in her nose and made her cough. The peaceful sound of the few lone crickets reminded her of how unpeaceful everything was now. She picked up her pace just as a figure appeared a few yards in front of her in the dark. Her stomach lurched as the footsteps crunched towards her. Recently, she'd heard how someone disappeared along this unlit road at night. What used to be a completely safe district could no longer be trusted. Bad things, bad people. The world wasn't the same. She held her breath. The footsteps got closer. How she wished she'd brought Yankel to protect her, her dagger so inaccessible. Should she run and turn? Turn around? As the figure reached her, a hot, oniony breath swept across her nose, and she felt a wave of relief flow over her. Jonathan! You scared me to death. I wondered who it was out there on such a cold night in the dark. You look so big. Shalom Hashim, Rena. I came to find you and walk you home. Jonathan said quietly, pivoting to walk beside her. Oh, I'm so relieved. With each step, she felt a chill penetrate her from the palms of her hands to the soles of her feet. Bleak, cold nights reminded her of that night of fire and death. And now her father was gone. For how long, no one knew. If not for her brother's strength and fortitude, she'd fall apart. A frigid breeze swept past her neck. She buttoned the top button of her wool coat. Fall was upon them. Good news, Rena. The army wouldn't let Papa fight. She felt the brace on her heart loosen. She pulled him. Oh, how wonderful. I can't wait to see him. Let's run back. Wait, Rena. He's not home. His message said they assigned him to a hospital duty. He doesn't know when they'll let him visit us. I should go help him at the hospital. He taught me. Yes, maybe, but while we are alone, there are things we must talk about. It was almost impossible to see him, let alone read his facial expressions. Other than the resonance of the trains slogging along in the distance, the black night hovering over their country road was silent. Jonathan pulled his cap down on his forehead. I've been asked by Ringelblum to assist him in forming an organization to help refugees. Rena hesitated, thinking about the risk. With her hands waving this way and that, and in exasperation, she huffed and puffed and finally pointed a finger at him. "Jonathan, I don't think Papa would like the idea of you becoming involved in things like that." Jonathan latched his arm through hers. "Rena, please, just listen. We will be helping the poor and hungry, and I know Papa's heart when it comes to needy children." "Mercy, Jonathan. Papa helps orphans in many ways, but he's an adult. He knows what he's doing." "Rena, this is something I have to do." She fell silent for a few steps. Turning towards Jonathan, she stopped and took his hands in hers and warmed them. "You could get yourself spotted as part of the Jewish intelligentsia, tagged as a troublemaker if you're not careful. I don't like this idea at all." "We know what we're doing, little sister." After a few minutes, she turned and faced him again. "They could take you away." Jonathan wrapped his arm around her shoulder and encouraged her toward home. "You don't have to worry." "But I do." Her heartbeat accelerated. "Promise me you'll be safe, Jonathan." "I promise, but there's more to it." Jonathan whispered close to her ear, "I am also a member of the resistance." She felt her face blanch. "What? What resistance?" "Shh! It is late, Rena. Some spy might be lurking in the shadows." She examined the dark for signs of snoopers. Besides darkness, she saw only a few distant stars beyond the outline of the black clouds. She whispered, "But you're only 18. You're not a man, Jonathan. These things—" "I am a man now, Rena. I'm strong, and real men stand up and take action to protect their country, their family." He pulled on her arm, found a large, squared-off chunk of rubble on the side of the road, and leaned against it. From his interior pocket, he withdrew a large, chewy, round yeast roll sprinkled with onion. After offering her a piece, he pinched off a small amount for himself. "Aunt Mitha baked bay leaf today." The tangy scent of onion revitalized her. Before her first bite, she asked, So, speak up. I know there is more, Jonathan. I can keep a secret." This is difficult, sharing things like this with a kid sister, but it's important you understand. I've been involved since we saw those bombers diving at us. Peter, Joseph, and I started a small youth group. We named it Akavans, and we're joining a larger organization so we can start buying weapons. It's only a matter of time. "Are you crazy as a loon?" With her sappy words came crumbs. "I'm sorry for upsetting you, but there are things that must be done to get Poland back." She squeezed the remaining chunk of bread, flattening it. "That's ridiculous, Jonathan. Poland is dead. The factory is history now. That fact is history now. We must learn to know," he said with militant determination. "There are those who are not willing to accept that as a fact. Some of us are willing to fight against the Germans before they get a firm grip on Poland. Do you have any idea how everything is going to change for us when the Nazis enforce their new decrees? Do you remember what they did to Jews in Berlin? To us? You'll just get yourself arrested. There's no stopping the Germans, Jonathan." She felt herself shivering, but it was more than the frosty night. Fright played mayhem with her nerves. The best thing to do is do as Papa says. Keep a low profile, be clean, and stay out of the way. Jonathan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small pamphlet folded down 3 times. He lit a match. Both of them strained to look at it as he unfolded it. In smeared black words, it read, "Poland lives, number 2." You really worry me, Jonathan. She felt the intensity of her upset deep down inside, wings like 1,000 hysterical butterflies. She wrapped the last lump of onion roll in the cloth. This kind of conspiratorial leaflet can get you killed. Beads of sweat spread over her forehead. She blew out the match. Put it away. Better yet, burn it. Jonathan, if Poland hadn't been playing a clumsy game of cat and mouse with Germany and the Soviet Union. I don't want to hear all of this, Jonathan. Yes, I suppose it is obvious now that Poland is weak as a kitten, but there's a plan. A plan. All right. You better not tell a soul. Rena covered her ears. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want you to do any stupid plan. Fine, I won't tell you anything anymore. I'm scared, Jonathan. Aren't you scared? No, I'm too angry to be scared. Okay, I promise. This is serious, Rena. This morning, I was almost caught helping some Pole colleagues escape from the Pawiak prison. Oh, no, Jonathan, please don't tell me anything else. He went on. Tonight, all of us freedom fighters are meeting at the Liskopov Street to settle the final details of our plan. Mercy, you are half-baked. A plan to do what, Jonathan? He hesitated but whispered the secret into her ear. To blow up Hitler during his victory parade. Rena gasped. Now you are really upsetting me, Jonathan. Calm down, Rena. I need your help. Calm down. My brother starts talking about blowing up Hitler and I'm going to be the one. The one? Jonathan paused and unbuttoned his coat. With the grenade. This year, the Day of Atonement seemed oddly out of rhythm, even more so than the Jewish New Year. Rena's family fasted, but the joy and contentment of previous years failed to materialize. With so much news about Nazi butchery, everyone spent most of the day in prayer. They burned candles all over the house, the trace of hot wax reminding Rena of burnt flesh. Even with the relentless flashes of gory premonitions, Rena found enough renewed strength to help Jonathan and her uncle plot out an emergency family plan that evening. Jonathan had to do a little convincing. It's important to use both kinds of brains, Uncle Moshe. Putting male and female minds together is the best of both worlds. Your brother is very wise, Zizket. Please start writing your thoughts and suggestions down on paper for our next meeting. Once everything is outlined, we must finish the task of purchasing and storing supplies. Rena smiled, bowing her head in a timid way, knowing what her uncle must be thinking, and yet excited by the fuel of her brother's confidence. Thank you. I can help. I want to help, and I will if you both really want me to. After their meeting, she tried to cheer up the others by reading poetry aloud, but not a single smile surfaced. As customary, no one did chores, but no one felt happiness either. Setting a few gold coins aside for the poor, they couldn't deliver them. Even Yankel acted depressed, hiding in corners with little Judith all evening. Her mother kept up her rambling, but no one seemed to mind. Before bedtime, in their stocking feet, they sang Hi-He Hen-He, but no customary trumpets played sweet tunes. Instead, trains clanked in the distance, reminding them the Nazis ruled Warsaw. On her knees in front of her bed, Yankel sitting beside her, Rena apologized to God. Please forgive us. There is no way to celebrate in the great synagogue like we should, or take a trip to the seashore to cleanse our sins with a tashli. Lord, please help me to reject anger, resentment, and unhappiness by taking pleasure in my blessings, my family unity, and this wonderful farm I love so much. The next day, Uncle Moshe awoke at 5 in the morning. Even though he'd broken away from the close-knit Jewish community in the city when he moved out to the farm, he still went to the synagogue every day. He said the invaders might control Warsaw, but they couldn't control his commitment to God. Even with a stop for prayers, Rena and her uncle arrived at Nathason's food shop in the city before it opened. An alarming number of battered people lingered in the square and the side streets, looking only semi-conscious. Loud shrieking sirens and old folks bearing grievances to passers-by plagued Rena's mood and made her worry about Sarah. She turned away from the devastation, hoping to escape the melancholy of their misfortune with a short recital practice with her friend. Since they had extra time, she suggested to her uncle they walk the 2 blocks to Sarah's house and check on her family. Upon approaching the place, Rena thought they had taken the wrong turn. Sarah's house was obliterated, blown to pieces, chunks of it lying across the street in the neighbor's yard. "Oh, no! I can't believe it!" Rena bent over, tears welling up in her eyes. She felt as if the entire world had crumbled around her. Warsaw in shambles. Her best friend, lost. The bitter taste of her stomach and her mouth reminded her of why her family left Berlin, something they had vowed to block from her mind. Would she ever be rid of the Nazis and their impressions? Was Sarah gone? Who would she talk to, share her secrets with? Did she even know how terribly Rena loved her? The trembling began at her knees and traveled up to her chest, the emotion stinging her eyes. When the full impact of the realization hit her, she crumbled to her knees, her face buried in her hands. Just next to her stood the row of pretty purple and yellow pansies she and Sarah had planted earlier that year. Their tin watering can stood upright just a few feet away, as if it had waited to be of use in Sarah's hand. Unprepared to let go of her friend, Rena began to crawl through the garden, searching through the debris in the flower beds and yard for a keepsake, something, anything that belonged to Sarah. Just then a gust of wind caused a multitude of orange and red leaves to disengage their branches and float through the air like large, colorful snowflakes. One of the orange ones landed like a homing pigeon on a large, thick envelope near the front steps. Rena jumped up and ran to it, tears streaming down her cheeks. With trembling fingers, she tore it open. It was a miracle, a blessed miracle. With slow, meticulous motion, she removed a 2-inch stack of photographs and shuffled through them one by one. Though they were stained from age and a few were torn, they were otherwise intact. When she found one of Sarah and her parents in front of their home in Berlin, she went rigid. In the picture, Sarah wore the gold locket Rena had given her for her birthday. Oh God, how can all this be happening? With tears staining her sight, she brought the photograph to her lips and kissed it. Sarah. My Sarah. Her uncle stood behind her, his hand on her shoulder. Without a word, he told her everything would be all right. But somehow, she knew nothing would ever be all right again.